Sarah moved from Barcelona to Zug. She's an architect and works for a big company. But she has one problem. She pays 5,000 francs per month for rent. And so she's burning money and it's driving her crazy. So she and her husband decide that 2026 is the year that they are buying a property in Switzerland. No more burning money, no more rent, home ownership, equity, that's what we're looking for. This is the guide Sarah wishes she would have. A walkthrough from a former banker, from a mortgage broker like myself. So let's start. Before location, before starting, before any asking prices, there's one question: what permit do you have? If you have a B permit, you can buy an apartment, a house for your primary residence. You're not allowed to buy something to rent. If you have a C permit, you are like a Swiss citizen. You can buy to rent, you can buy for rental, you can buy for yourself to live in it, so no strings attached. Swiss mortgages have one rule that doesn't bend: you need 20% of equity. And most people don't understand which kind of money they can use as equity. And there's one thing which most people are very surprised: at least 10% of the asking price you need in cash. So no second pillar pledging everything, you need 10% of cash. If you buy something for 3 million, you need 300,000 in cash. And now you're asking yourself, okay, what counts as cash? So, and the other 10% can be from your second pillar. You can withdraw it or pledge it. And then there's the affordability rule. If you see the interest rates of 10 years, let's say 1.5%, don't make a calculation of that, because banks have their own rules to see if you are allowed to buy a property, if you can pass the stress test, and they make a calculation with 5% interest rate. That's not what you're going to pay by the end of the day. It's just a calculation to see if you pass the stress test. So for a property of 3 million, you need an income of, what's that? Let's say 550,000 gross income per year. Well, Sarah and her husband, they earn roughly 600,000 francs, so that's totally fine. Let's move on. Switzerland isn't one market, it's 26 cantons, each with its own tax rates and regulations. You have Zurich, Zug, Basel. They are more expensive, very liquid and easy to sell, so these are quite good locations to buy. Luzern and Bern are more mid-tier, don't really recommend it. Graubünden is cheaper. There are not really expats, in my opinion, or which I know who live there. Sarah looked at Zurich, then at Zug, where she was already living. Same money, smaller commute, less taxes. So decision made. Walk into a Swiss bank as an expat, and the conversation about a mortgage has its own choreography. Fixed rate mortgages versus SARON variable rate. Well, the rates are very low in Switzerland, so most expats are making a mix. You can mix it up, a little bit of SARON, a little bit of fixed rate for 10 years, whatever you like. Banks will check your permit, your working contract, your bonuses, which are very important. B permit holders usually need to bring more equity than a C permit holder, and maybe a little bit of higher rate. As a mortgage broker myself, we get better rates for our clients because we work with 30 banks and we are former bankers. And so we get a lot of savings for our clients, and the client doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to take care of their mortgage. There's an amortization rule. You have in Switzerland a first and a second mortgage. You have to pay back your second mortgage within 15 years. You can do it also with a third pillar, which is more interesting for your taxes and your taxable income. But if you need some answers and have some questions, just book a consultation, which is free. Sarah got 3 offers. The best offer wasn't from her daily bank. It was from a cantonal bank she'd never used. She has a difference of 30 basis points, meaning over 10 years she saved 30,000 francs in interest payments. Once you find your place, the Swiss buying process is very fast and formal. You will need to do a reservation agreement with the seller. Sometimes you pay like a small deposit of 50,000-60,000 francs. And before you can make a reservation agreement, you usually need a financial confirmation, which shows that you have a bank which is financing the property and that you pass the affordability calculation. Then you have a notary appointment. Don't ask me why, but most contracts are in German, so it's not really expat friendly. That's why you need someone who can translate it, and you don't want to sign blindly a German contract. The total timeline between offer and notary appointments is usually 6 to 12 weeks. The longest time for Sarah was waiting for the notary appointment because they have a lot to do. Behind the price, here's actually what leaves your account. Notary fees are usually 0.1 to 0.5% of the asking price, depending on the canton you're buying. Property transfer tax for most cantons is 0% if you're living by yourself in it, and there are some cantons where you have to pay something. Land registry fees usually up to 0.4%. And you also pay something like 300 to 500 francs for your bank for everything, for closing the mortgage. And then there's something special, it's called Eigenmietwert in Switzerland. It's gonna be on top of your income, and it's like an annual imputed rental value tax, which means how much money you would get if you rented the property, and even if you don't rent it, it will just be put on top of your income. And that's only till 2028, 2029. There was like a change in the law. Well, and for maintenance, you should just budget like 1% of the asking price. You don't have to pay it, but it's good if you budget it like that. Well, Sarah closed on her Zug apartment in October 2025. She was happy that she got a good rate, but she had to do a lot of askings by herself, running from bank to bank. And if you earn 600,000 with your husband together, you know time is very valuable and you don't have the time to learn everything. And if you're also looking to buy a property in Switzerland and you would like to have a consultation in English, someone who understands the mortgage market, someone who understands you, because we've done a lot of expat financing in Zug, Zurich, Basel, and then you can just sign in for a consultation, which is totally free. We can see if we can help you and if we want to help you. And then we can make an online meeting and talk about your situation. It's totally free. And you won't have to think about anything else. You can just choose your apartment, your house, and we will take care of the financing. You will get very good rates. So sign in for a free consultation. Click now on the link.